Alien girl sold as slave by her father, freed by a human who becomes her husband. Inside, a young human named Ethan Drayton checked his instruments for the 100th time. He was a traveler, a mediator, and lately, something of a reluctant hero. His mission had been simple in theory: deliver medical supplies to the border colonies of Velora. In practice, the journey had been anything but ordinary. Velora was a beautiful, strange planet. Its forests shimmered in shades of green and silver, and rivers glowed faintly with bioluminescent algae. The inhabitants, known as Velorans, were tall and slender, with skin that reflected the sunlight in soft hues of blue and violet. Though peaceful, Velorans had recently been caught in political turmoil, and outsiders like Ethan were rare. As he landed the shuttle, Ethan noticed movement near the cliffs. A figure was running toward him, her form small and hurried, yet her movements carried a graceful precision. She wore a cloak that shimmered in the sunlight, almost blending with the surroundings. As she approached, Ethan saw her eyes, bright emerald, wide with fear and determination. "You must help me," the girl shouted in Veloran, her voice urgent but clear. Ethan quickly activated his universal translator. I don't know if I can explain everything, but I need you to get me out of here." Ethan's heart raced. He was trained to handle emergencies, but this was unlike anything he had faced before. He studied her quickly, noticing the signs of distress: a slight tremble in her hands, the way she looked over her shoulder constantly, as if danger followed her like a shadow. "Calm down," Ethan said gently. "You're safe now. I can help you, but I need to know what's happening." "My father, they're trying to control me," she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "I can't stay there. Please, you have to help me leave Velora before it's too late." Ethan hesitated. He had heard of disputes between ruling families on Velora, but he had never imagined getting involved directly. Yet there was something about the girl, her courage, her urgency, that pushed him to act. "Okay," he said finally. "We'll get you somewhere safe. But you have to trust me completely." The girl nodded, gripping his arm for support. "I do. My name is Leora." With careful planning, Ethan guided Leora onto his shuttle. They had to move quickly. The cliffs were patrolled, and the Veloran political guards were strict about unauthorized movement. As the shuttle lifted off, Ethan looked down at the forests below. Shadows moved in unnatural patterns. He had the feeling someone had already noticed Leora's absence. Inside the shuttle, Leora explained her situation in simple terms, though her voice was still filled with fear. "My father, he has plans for me, plans I cannot accept. I only want freedom to choose my own path." Ethan listened, nodding slowly. He had seen humans and aliens alike struggle under expectations imposed by others, but there was a strength in Leora's words. "You're brave to stand up for yourself," he said. "Most people wouldn't even try." Leora smiled faintly, though her eyes still betrayed anxiety. "I don't have a choice. If I stay, my life will belong to someone else." The shuttle hummed softly as it traveled through the thin atmosphere, leaving Velora's cliffs behind. Ethan checked the coordinates for the nearest safe planet, one used by traders and explorers who could offer refuge. It was a long journey, but he knew it was the only way to ensure Leora's safety. As the hours passed, Leora grew quieter. She watched the stars outside the shuttle's window, marveling at their brilliance. Ethan noticed and decided to speak. "Do you ever wonder why humans explore space?" he asked lightly. "It's not just curiosity. We like to help even when it's risky. Maybe it's our way of proving we can make a difference." Leora turned to him, her eyes reflecting the distant stars. "I think I understand that now," she said softly. "You risked yourself for me, someone you barely know. That is rare." Ethan shrugged, smiling modestly. "Maybe humans are just stubborn, or maybe we believe freedom is worth fighting for." Leora's gaze softened. "I've never met a human before. I didn't know such courage existed beyond our stories." The shuttle's alarm suddenly beeped, startling them both. Ethan glanced at the control panel. "We have company," he said grimly. "Sensors detect a pursuit ship approaching fast. They must have tracked us from Velora." Leora's eyes widened. "They're trying to bring me back." Ethan didn't respond immediately. Instead, he activated the shuttle's stealth mode, engaging the cloaking field that could make the craft invisible to most sensors for short periods. "Hold on," he said. "We'll need to maneuver carefully to avoid capture." The pursuit ship accelerated, its engines glowing ominously against the backdrop of stars. Ethan pushed the shuttle to its limits, twisting through asteroid fields and narrow gaps between moons. Leora clung to the seats, her fear evident but mingled with awe. "You're amazing," she said, voice trembling. "How can you control this ship so well?" Ethan laughed, though it was tense. "I've had a lot of practice, but this is tricky. We can't make mistakes now." Hours passed as they navigated the dangers of deep space. Finally, Ethan found a hidden asteroid base used by smugglers and traders, a place where no Veloran official would dare enter. He landed carefully, shutting down the shuttle's engines. Leora exhaled deeply, relief washing over her features. I think we're safe for now," she said. Ethan nodded, though he remained vigilant. "For now," he repeated. "We need a plan. We can't stay here long, but at least we have time to think." Inside the base, humans and aliens mingled, exchanging goods and stories. Leora's eyes widened as she saw creatures she had only read about in history books, beings with shimmering wings, multi-limbed traders, and even robotic companions. She moved cautiously, still wary, but Ethan stayed close. "You'll find help here," Ethan said. "People who believe in freedom in doing what's right, they won't turn you away." Leora looked around, her fear slowly giving way to hope. I never imagined a place like this existed," she admitted. "I thought I was alone." "You're not alone," Ethan said firmly. "And we'll make sure no one can take you back. You have the right to choose your path, Leora, and we'll protect it." For the first time in her life, Leora felt the stirrings of courage, not born from fear, but from trust and friendship. She looked at Ethan, feeling a strange sense of gratitude and admiration. Somehow she knew their meeting was no accident. As night fell over the asteroid base, the twin moons casting silver light across the landing pads, Leora realized she was safe, for now. But danger still lurked beyond the stars, and their journey had only just begun. Ethan checked the shuttle one last time before they settled in for a brief rest. "Tomorrow, we plan our next move," he said. "And together we'll make sure you're free to live your life as you choose." Leora nodded, feeling a spark of determination she hadn't known she possessed. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." Ethan smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the satisfaction of doing what was right. In that quiet moment, under alien stars and distant suns, two very different beings forged a bond, one that would grow stronger as they faced challenges the galaxy had never seen before. The adventure had just begun. The asteroid base was alive with activity. Light flickered across the metal walls as traders, smugglers, and travelers moved hurriedly from one terminal to another. Ships of every shape and size were docked, their engines hissing softly. For Leora, it was overwhelming. She had never seen a place like this. Far from the structured, orderly life of Velora, this base was chaotic yet vibrant. Ethan guided her through the corridors, careful to keep her close. He introduced her to a few friendly faces, a tall human engineer named Maris, a Veloran diplomat called Talon, and a robotic assistant named Cairo. All of them welcomed Leora with gentle smiles. "This place is incredible," Leora whispered, glancing at the various beings moving past. "I didn't know there were worlds where freedom like this existed." Ethan nodded. "It exists everywhere if you know where to look, you just have to find it. And sometimes you have to fight for it." As they walked, Maris approached with a small device in hand. "I've been checking your shuttle, Ethan," she said. "The engines are in top condition, but you'll need more fuel if you plan to leave the asteroid soon." "The Veloran patrols won't stop searching for your friend." Ethan frowned. "How much time do we have before they catch up?" "Not much," Maris replied. "If they're persistent, they'll track signals. We need to either hide the shuttle or move fast." Leora's emerald eyes widened. "They're really looking for me?" Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Yes, but that's why we're here. You won't be alone. We'll make sure you're safe." Later that evening, Leora and Ethan found themselves in a quiet corner of the base, overlooking the asteroid field through a reinforced window. The view was breathtaking. Thousands of floating rocks glinting in starlight, ships darting between them like fireflies. "I've never seen anything like this," Leora said softly. "My whole life I've been taught rules, obligations, and expectations. I never imagined I could see the universe or choose my own path." Ethan smiled. "The universe is bigger than anyone's rules. And choosing your path, that's the hardest and most important thing you'll ever do." Leora's eyes shimmered with a mix of awe and uncertainty. "But what if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice?" "Then you learn," Ethan said firmly. "Humans fail all the time, but we get back up. That's what makes us strong. And I promise you won't have to do it alone." The night passed quietly, but danger was never far away. Outside the base, scouts from Velora had detected anomalies in shuttle traffic. A small fleet had been dispatched to investigate. Ethan knew that time was running out. The next morning, Ethan, Leora, and their companions gathered to plan their next move. Talon spread a star map across the table, pointing to several uncharted systems. "These are isolated planets and stations," Talon explained. "They are difficult to reach but perfect for hiding someone who doesn't want to be found, but the journey is dangerous. Pirates, rogue patrols, and cosmic storms are common." Leora leaned closer to the map, her fingers tracing a route through several star systems. I think I can do this. I want to try." Ethan studied her, admiration growing. "You have courage, Leora, but courage alone isn't enough. We'll need strategy, skill, and careful timing." Maris interjected. "I can help with the technical side. Navigation, fuel, and cloaking systems are my expertise. Cairo will assist with monitoring signals and communication. We have a team here and we'll work together." Leora's heart swelled. For the first time, she felt like she belonged somewhere, not because of orders or expectations, but because people had chosen to help her. They prepared the shuttle for departure. Supplies were packed, engines checked, and shields strengthened. Ethan helped Leora into her seat, securing her harness. She looked nervous but determined. "Remember," Ethan said, "we leave at night. Visibility is low, sensors are weaker, and the shadows will hide us. Stick close and follow instructions exactly." Leora nodded. "I'm ready." As night fell over the asteroid base, the shuttle lifted off silently. Ethan piloted carefully through the dense asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks with precision. Cairo monitored the sensors, alerting them to any approaching ships. Hours passed in tense silence. Then a warning signal blared. "Unidentified ship approaching fast," Cairo announced. Ethan's hands tightened on the controls. "Stay calm, we can handle this." The pursuit ship appeared through the asteroid debris, its engines glowing a threatening red. Ethan pushed the shuttle into a sudden dive, spiraling around a large asteroid to avoid detection. Leora gripped the seat, her fear evident, but she trusted Ethan completely. "You're incredible," she whispered, voice trembling. "How can you stay so calm?" Ethan glanced at her briefly, a small smile on his face. "Practice, and knowing that panicking won't help anyone." The pursuit ship fired warning shots, lasers bouncing harmlessly off the asteroid. Ethan calculated their trajectory carefully, moving the shuttle through a narrow gap between two massive asteroids. The pursuing ship overshot, crashing into a smaller rock and spinning out of control. Leora exhaled, relief flooding her. "That was amazing." Ethan allowed himself a brief grin. "Let's not celebrate just yet. We're not safe until we reach our destination." They traveled through deep space for days, avoiding patrols and using uncharted routes to remain undetected. During this time, Leora learned quickly, absorbing lessons about navigation, basic piloting, and even minor repairs. Ethan was patient, guiding her step by step. "You're a quick learner," Ethan said one afternoon. "Most would have given up long ago." Leora smiled faintly. "I have to learn. I can't go back to my old life, and I don't want to. This freedom, it's worth everything." Their journey led them to a small, verdant planet, almost untouched by civilization. Lush forests stretched for miles, rivers sparkled in the sunlight, and the air was fresh and clean. It was a perfect place to rest and plan their next move. Ethan landed the shuttle near a quiet lake. The two of them stepped out, stretching their legs after the long trip. Leora took a deep breath, savoring the feeling of fresh air on her skin. This is wonderful," she said. "It feels like a new beginning." Ethan nodded. "It is, but remember this is just one step. The galaxy is vast and challenges lie ahead. You've already shown courage. Now we'll need wisdom, patience, and teamwork." As they set up a small camp near the lake, Leora realized how much she had grown in just a few days. Fear had been replaced by determination, uncertainty by confidence. She looked at Ethan, grateful not just for his help, but for the way he had believed in her even when she doubted herself. Night fell, and stars blanketed the sky. Leora and Ethan sat together by a small fire, sharing stories of their worlds. Leora spoke of Velora's forests, cities, and culture, while Ethan shared tales of Earth, humans, and the boundless curiosity that drove them to explore space. "You humans are remarkable," Leora said softly. "You fight, explore, and protect what you believe is right." "I can see why freedom is so important to you," Ethan smiled. And humans aren't perfect, we make mistakes, but we try, that's what matters. They sat in comfortable silence, the crackle of the fire and the distant sounds of the lake filling the night. For the first time, Leora felt truly free, not just physically, but in her spirit. Tomorrow, they would plan their journey further, seeking allies, uncovering secrets, and continuing their path through the galaxy. But for tonight, there was peace. And in that peace, a bond was forming. A bond of trust, friendship, and the shared belief that courage and freedom were worth protecting at all costs. The adventure was far from over, but Leora knew one thing. With Ethan by her side, she could face whatever challenges the universe might throw at her. The morning sun rose over the green planet, casting golden light across the calm lake where Ethan and Leora had spent the night. Birds with iridescent feathers sang from the trees, and the wind rustled gently through the leaves. For a brief moment, everything seemed peaceful. But Ethan knew better. In the galaxy, safety was always temporary, and freedom often came with risks. Ethan and Leora had spent the night planning their next move. The asteroid base had offered them temporary refuge, but they could not remain there forever. The Veloran patrols were relentless, and rumors of human involvement were spreading across the system. Their journey would require courage, cleverness, and trust. "We need a plan," Ethan said as he packed supplies into the shuttle. "Staying on this planet is safe for now, but we can't stay too long. We'll need allies, people who can help us navigate the galaxy without attracting attention." Leora nodded. "I trust you, but where do we start? I don't know anyone outside Velora except you." Ethan smiled. "That's okay. Humans are good at making connections. And I have a few contacts who specialize in helping travelers like us. They may not be easy to find, but they exist." Once the shuttle was ready, they lifted off from the lake and began navigating through the planet's orbit. Ethan charted a course toward the outer systems, avoiding the main trade routes and known patrol zones. The journey would be long, but he preferred caution over confrontation. As they traveled, Ethan and Leora spoke quietly, sharing their thoughts and experiences. "Your world is so different from mine," Leora said, watching the stars streak past the shuttle's windows. "On Velora, everything is controlled. There are rules for every action, and everyone has a place. Freedom is more than just a word, it's something I didn't know I could have." Ethan nodded. "Humans fight for freedom in different ways. Some fight battles, some explore new worlds, some stand up for what's right. That's why I'm here with you, because your choice matters." Leora's eyes glimmered. "I never thought anyone would care about a girl like me choosing her own path, but you risked yourself without hesitation." Ethan glanced at her, feeling a warmth he didn't often allow himself to notice. Sometimes doing the right thing is worth the risk, especially if it means helping someone be free. Their conversation was interrupted by the soft ping of the shuttle's sensors. Ethan leaned forward, frowning at the display. "Unidentified ship detected," Cairo said in its calm, robotic voice. "It is approaching fast." "They are not broadcasting identification." Ethan's hands moved quickly over the controls. "Stay calm, Leora, we can handle this. Keep your seatbelt fastened and stay quiet." The ship emerged from the shadows, sleek and dark, almost invisible against the void. It was unlike any patrol ship Ethan had seen. Its design suggested speed and stealth, and the markings indicated it belonged to a private mercenary group, pirates who sometimes worked for powerful clients. "They're after us," Leora whispered, fear flickering across her face. Ethan gave her a reassuring smile. "Not yet, but we'll make sure they don't catch us." He activated the shuttle's cloaking field, a feature Maris had installed to avoid detection in dangerous zones. The ship shimmered as it disappeared from sensors and visual detection, slipping into the shadows of nearby asteroids. The pursuing ship passed by, searching for signs of movement, but Ethan's maneuvering kept them hidden. When the threat had passed, he exhaled slowly. "That was close, too close." Leora gripped the edge of her seat, her eyes wide. "How do you stay so calm?" "Experience," Ethan replied simply, "and the knowledge that panicking won't help anyone." Hours later, they reached a hidden colony on a small moon, far from major trade routes. The colony was a mix of humans and aliens, all living together in harmony. Small domes dotted the surface, connected by tunnels and walkways. Solar panels and wind turbines provided energy, and gardens of alien and earth plants flourished. "This is amazing," Leora said softly. "It feels like a home." Ethan nodded. "It's a safe place, but not perfect. People here are cautious. We'll need to earn their trust." They were greeted by a woman named Commander Alara, a veteran of many space missions. She was strict but fair, with piercing gray eyes that seemed to see everything. "We don't often get visitors," Alara said, studying them carefully. "You're far from home. What brings you here?" Ethan stepped forward. "We need refuge. My companion here is being pursued by powerful forces. We seek allies who value freedom and safety." Alara's expression softened slightly. "Freedom is a rare thing in this galaxy," she said. "We can help, but you must follow our rules. No unnecessary risks, and trust must be earned." Leora looked at Ethan, nervous but hopeful. He gave her a subtle nod. "We'll follow the rules," he said. "We're grateful for any help you can give." Over the next few days, Ethan and Leora worked alongside the colonists, learning their ways and helping with daily tasks. Leora discovered a natural talent for communication and problem-solving. She could negotiate, organize, and inspire trust, skills that were rare among Velorans. Ethan watched her quietly, impressed. "You're learning fast," he said one evening as they prepared supplies. "Most people would struggle with all this, but you're adapting." Leora smiled. "I want to help. I want to make sure I can survive on my own, and I want to be ready for whatever comes next." Their training was interrupted by a sudden alert from the colony's sensors. "Incoming message," Cairo announced. "Encrypted and high priority." "It is from an unknown source." Ethan and Alara exchanged glances. "Open it," Ethan said. The message revealed a shocking truth. The Veloran faction pursuing Leora had hired the mercenary group. But more importantly, the faction was being manipulated by a hidden power, an alien organization that sought to control multiple planets through political influence. Leora's eyes widened. They want to control not just my world, but others too," Ethan nodded grimly. "It seems so. That's why it's important we stay ahead of them. If they capture you or anyone else who resists, freedom in the galaxy could be at risk." Alara placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "We'll help you fight this, but it won't be easy. This organization is powerful, with resources across multiple systems." Leora's determination hardened. "Then we'll be clever. We'll use strategy, not just strength. I won't let them take away freedom from anyone else." Ethan felt a surge of pride. Leora had grown so much in a short time. Courage was one thing, but wisdom and resolve were what made someone truly remarkable. Over the next week, they prepared. They repaired the shuttle, reinforced its shields, and stocked supplies. Leora trained in basic piloting, learning to navigate asteroid fields, calculate trajectories, and operate the shuttle systems. One evening, as they worked, Ethan spoke quietly to Leora. "You know, humans often face impossible odds, but we never give up. That's what makes us strong, and I think you're ready to face challenges too." Leora looked at him, her eyes bright with resolve. "I feel ready, and I know I can face them because you're here with me." Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he hadn't allowed himself before. "We'll face them together. Whatever comes next, we'll be prepared." The colony provided temporary safety, but Ethan knew it was only a matter of time before their enemies discovered their location. He began planning the next leg of their journey, a series of hidden routes and secret allies across multiple systems. It would be dangerous, but they were no longer running blindly. They had knowledge, skill, and trust. Leora spent the night by the colony's observation deck, staring at the stars. Each point of light represented worlds, lives, and possibilities. She felt hope, courage, and a strange sense of destiny. She knew her journey was only beginning, but for the first time she believed she could make a difference. Ethan joined her quietly, standing beside her as they watched the cosmos. "You see all those stars?" he said softly. "Each one is a chance. A chance to do good, to protect freedom, to make choices that matter. That's what humans and those who fight for freedom believe in, and now you're part of it too." Leora nodded, her heart swelling with determination. "I will do my best. For myself, for my world, and for anyone who needs help." Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we'll face whatever comes next together." The galaxy was vast, full of danger and mystery, but also full of opportunity. And together, a human and a Veloran girl had begun to carve their path, guided by courage, ingenuity, and the belief that freedom was worth every risk. The journey continued, and with it, the promise of adventure, discovery, and the forging of an unbreakable bond. The hidden colony was quiet as dawn broke over the small moon. Ethan and Leora had spent the night reviewing star charts, mapping possible routes to avoid the alien organization scouts. Despite the calm, Ethan felt the tension in the air. The enemy was smart, persistent, and powerful. They would not give up easily. "Are we ready?" Leora asked, checking the shuttle's systems one more time. Her hands moved with confidence now, pressing buttons and scanning screens with precision. Ethan smiled at her. "We're as ready as we can be. Remember, it's not just speed or strength that matters. Strategy and timing will keep us alive." Cairo hovered beside them, its sensors scanning the surrounding space for signs of danger. "No immediate threats detected," it said. "However, probability of enemy detection will increase as we approach the outer system. Estimated engagement is likely within 12 hours. Ethan nodded. "Then we need to move before nightfall. Stick close, Leora, and follow instructions exactly." As the shuttle lifted off, the moon's surface receding beneath them, Leora felt a mixture of excitement and fear. She had grown so much in the past weeks, from a frightened girl hiding from her world to a determined young woman navigating the galaxy with courage and skill. Yet she knew the real test was ahead. Hours passed as they traveled through uncharted space. Ethan guided the shuttle through asteroid fields and narrow channels, using the shadows of larger celestial bodies to remain hidden from patrols. Leora assisted with navigation, learning to anticipate movements and calculate routes quickly. Suddenly, Cairo's sensors blared. "Enemy fleet detected, 3 ships approaching from Vector 207. Estimated time to engagement, 4 minutes. Ethan's hands moved over the controls. "Stay calm, we're not going to run. We'll make them regret trying to catch us." The 3 sleek black enemy ships appeared, cutting through the void like predators. They were fast, well-armed, and maneuverable. Ethan activated the shuttle's cloaking field and altered their course, weaving in and out of asteroid clusters. Leora gripped her seat. "They're faster than us. How can we escape?" Ethan's voice was steady. "We won't just escape, we'll outsmart them. Watch carefully." He adjusted the shuttle's trajectory, leading the enemy ships into a dense asteroid field. The rocks were massive, some larger than small cities. It was a dangerous path, but Ethan trusted his skills and Leora's growing understanding of piloting. The enemy ships followed, but not as skillfully. Lasers bounced harmlessly off asteroids or missed their mark entirely. Ethan guided the shuttle with precision, banking sharply around massive rocks, using every twist and turn to their advantage. "Now, Leora," Ethan shouted, "use the thrusters on the left side to create a false trail." Leora activated the thrusters, sending a cloud of gas and debris behind the shuttle. The enemy sensors detected the trail and misinterpreted it as the shuttle's actual path. 2 of the ships veered off to intercept, while the third slowed, scanning the wrong location. Ethan took a deep breath. "Good work. Now follow me through the narrow canyon." They maneuvered the shuttle into a tight space between 2 enormous asteroids, twisting and turning with barely a meter to spare. The enemy ships hesitated, unable to match their precision. One collided with an asteroid, sending fragments into space. Another struggled to keep pace, eventually losing sight of their quarry. "Is it over?" Leora asked, her voice trembling with adrenaline. "Not yet," Ethan replied. "We've shaken them, but they won't give up. We need to reach the hidden system." The hidden system was a cluster of small planets and moons used by smugglers, explorers, and secret colonies. It was largely uncharted and difficult to detect, making it a perfect sanctuary. Ethan guided the shuttle carefully, scanning for safe entry points and avoiding known patrol zones. Finally, they reached a small moon with a dense network of caves and underground tunnels. The shuttle landed smoothly inside a natural cavern, surrounded by walls of glimmering crystal. "We're safe for now," Ethan said, exhaling with relief. Leora unbuckled her harness and stepped out of the shuttle, her legs shaking slightly from the tension. "That was incredible." "I didn't think we'd make it," Ethan smiled. "You helped, that's why we made it. You're learning fast and you kept calm when it mattered most." As they explored the cavern, they found signs of previous travelers, storage crates, makeshift workstations, and hidden communication devices. It was a perfect place to plan their next move. "We'll need supplies," Ethan said. "Weapons, food, fuel, and we need allies. If the enemy learns where we are, we'll be outnumbered and outgunned." Leora nodded, determination evident in her eyes. "Then let's prepare. We'll face whatever comes next, together." Over the next few days, they established the cavern as a temporary base. Ethan and Leora worked tirelessly, repairing equipment, testing defenses, and training in strategy. They sent encrypted messages to trusted allies, seeking guidance and support. One evening, while analyzing the enemy's fleet patterns, Leora made a startling observation. "Ethan," she said, pointing at the holographic display, "they're predictable. They always approach from the same vector and they respond in similar ways. We can anticipate their movements." Ethan studied the display. "You're right, that gives us an advantage. If we know their behavior, we can set traps, create diversions, and strike where they least expect it." Their preparations were interrupted by Cairo's alert. "Incoming message. It is urgent. The enemy fleet has coordinated with local mercenaries. They are planning a strike within 24 hours. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we don't have time to waste. We need to act first." He and Leora spent the night preparing defensive measures and setting up traps around the cavern. Leora learned quickly, using her intelligence and insight to anticipate enemy tactics. Ethan was impressed. "You're thinking like a strategist now," he said quietly. "Most humans take years to develop this skill. You've adapted in days." Leora smiled faintly. "I have to. And I want to protect everyone who can't protect themselves." The next day, the enemy fleet arrived, approaching cautiously, expecting an easy capture. But Ethan and Leora were ready. Hidden in the cavern, they activated a series of automated defenses: laser turrets, decoy drones, and electromagnetic pulses. The first wave of enemy ships was caught off guard. Lasers bounced off shields, drones disrupted targeting systems, and the decoys confused their sensors. Chaos erupted in space as the enemy fleet struggled to respond. Ethan guided the shuttle through the skirmish, striking strategic points while avoiding unnecessary risk. Leora operated secondary controls, managing shields, thrusters, and communication relays. "You're amazing," Ethan shouted over the comms. "Keep it up." Leora's eyes shone with determination. "We can do this. Just follow my lead for the next maneuver." With precise timing, they lured the remaining ships into a narrow asteroid pass. The rocks were tight, and the enemy had no room to maneuver. Ethan and Leora slipped through with ease, while two ships collided with asteroids, damaged beyond repair. The final ship attempted a last-ditch attack, but Ethan anticipated the move. With a swift maneuver, he outflanked the vessel, forcing it to retreat. The enemy fleet was defeated, or at least temporarily neutralized. Leora sank into her seat, exhausted but exhilarated. "We did it! We really did it!" Ethan smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, we did. But remember, this is only the beginning. The enemy will regroup and the galaxy is full of challenges, but we've proven we can face them together." As they watched the stars, a sense of pride and accomplishment filled the cavern. Leora had grown beyond fear, becoming a capable strategist and courageous ally. Ethan had shown her that humans could combine intelligence, courage, and compassion to protect freedom, even against overwhelming odds. For the first time, Leora felt truly confident in her ability to shape her own destiny. And with Ethan by her side, she knew they could face whatever the galaxy threw at them next. The first battle was won, but the war for freedom was far from over. The hidden cavern had become a fortress of hope. Ethan and Leora had spent weeks preparing, learning, and strategizing. The galaxy was vast, but so was their resolve. Every system they traveled through, every obstacle they faced, had strengthened their bond and sharpened their skills. Now, the final confrontation with the alien organization loomed ahead. "Are we truly ready for this?" Leora asked, her hands resting on the shuttle's console. Her emerald eyes reflected the distant stars, and there was a calm determination in her gaze. Ethan nodded, checking the navigation systems for the last time. "We've prepared as much as anyone can. Strategy, speed, and intelligence, we have all three, and now we have courage. That's what will carry us through." Cairo floated beside them, scanning space. "Enemy fleet approaching. Estimated engagement in 6 minutes. They are fully armed and aware of our location." Leora inhaled deeply, centering herself. "Then we face them together." The shuttle lifted off from the cavern, engines glowing softly. Outside, the black void of space stretched endlessly, dotted with the light of distant suns. Ahead, the enemy fleet approached, larger and more organized than any they had faced before. Their sleek ships gleamed, weapons primed, sensors scanning for the smallest anomaly. Ethan engaged the shuttle's stealth mode, weaving through the asteroid belt that shielded the hidden moon. The enemy ships followed cautiously, expecting an easy ambush, but Ethan had a plan. "Leora, get ready to assist with the decoys," he said. We'll need to confuse their sensors and force them into the asteroid corridor. Timing is critical. Leora's hands flew over the controls, activating holographic projections that mimicked the shuttle's energy signature. Drones scattered through the asteroid field, creating multiple false trails. The enemy fleet hesitated, scanning and firing at illusions. Perfect, Ethan said, guiding the shuttle through a narrow canyon between two massive asteroids. Stay sharp, they'll adapt quickly. The enemy ships tried to respond, firing lasers and energy pulses, but Ethan's maneuvers were precise, his calculations flawless. Leora monitored their shields and thrusters, making adjustments in real time. You're amazing, Ethan shouted over the comms. Keep it up. Leora smiled despite the tension. We can do this. Just follow my lead for the next maneuver. The shuttle twisted and turned through the asteroid field, using gravity, momentum, and skill to stay ahead of the pursuing fleet. Two enemy ships collided with large asteroids, destroyed instantly. Another tried to flank them but became entangled in a web of drones and laser traps. Status? Ethan asked, glancing at Cairo. All enemy ships disabled or retreating, Cairo reported. No casualties on our side. Probability of success, 98%. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. Excellent, let's finish this. They emerged from the asteroid field into open space, approaching the central station of the alien organization, a massive orbital platform orbiting a gas giant. It was heavily defended, bristling with weapons and sensors. The enemy had expected only evasive targets, not attackers prepared for confrontation. This is it, Ethan said, the heart of their operation. We need to disable their command systems and broadcast a message to the galaxy. Freedom will only spread if everyone knows the truth. Leora's fingers danced over the controls, activating the shuttle's secondary systems. I can hack into their communications grid while you guide us past the defenses, she suggested. We can disrupt them without full destruction. Ethan nodded. Good thinking, precision over force. The shuttle darted between defensive turrets and sensor arrays, invisible for brief moments thanks to the cloaking field. Leora worked quickly, sending encrypted codes and virus programs into the enemy systems. Lights flickered across the orbital platform as their security measures were bypassed, shields lowered, and defenses temporarily disabled. We're in, Leora said. Sending the broadcast now. Across the galaxy, the organization's communications channels were hijacked. A clear message played on every monitored network. This organization seeks to control worlds and suppress freedom. Resistance is not only possible, it is necessary. Unite, protect choice, and defend the right to decide your own path. Ethan piloted the shuttle in and out of the orbital platform, dodging energy beams and automated drones. Leora continued to monitor the systems, ensuring the broadcast reached every channel without interruption. Suddenly, the platform's central defense activated, sending a wave of energy barriers to trap the shuttle. Ethan calculated the trajectory and adjusted their velocity. Leora, prepare for a gravity shift maneuver, he said. Ready, she replied, her hands steady. With careful timing, Ethan and Leora used the platform's own gravity fields against it, slipping past defenses while destabilizing their energy generators. The orbital platform shuddered, lights flickering as systems failed. Outside, the enemy fleet, disoriented by the broadcast and sudden loss of coordination, began retreating. Ships that had seemed unstoppable now fled, unsure and scattered. We did it, Leora whispered, relief washing over her. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. Not just us. Everyone who believes in freedom did this. And you were incredible. Without your strategy, we wouldn't have succeeded. Leora smiled, her heart swelling with pride. I never imagined I could do something like this, but with you guiding me, I felt like I could. Cairo's sensors detected no further threats. All immediate danger neutralized, probability of continued safety, high. Ethan glanced at the stars beyond the shattered orbital platform. This is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast and freedom requires constant vigilance. But today, we made a difference. The broadcast continued to spread, inspiring resistance movements across multiple systems. Aliens and humans alike were encouraged to protect their rights, to resist oppression, and to value freedom over fear. Leora watched in awe as worlds she had never imagined connected through hope. This is amazing, she said softly. Our actions can change lives, and not just my life, but everyone else. Ethan smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility and the joy of success. That's what humans and those who fight for freedom do. We make a difference one choice at a time. The shuttle traveled back toward the hidden moon where allies awaited. Leora looked at Ethan with gratitude and respect. I've learned so much from you. Courage, intelligence, and how to trust others. I couldn't have done this alone. Ethan shook his head. No one succeeds alone, and neither of us would be here without teamwork, trust, and determination. You've grown stronger than you realize. They landed safely on the moon, greeted by Commander Alara and the colonists. The news of the broadcast had already reached them, and a sense of triumph filled the community. Hope, long suppressed by fear, now burned brightly. As the night fell, Leora and Ethan sat under the starlit sky, reflecting on their journey. You've changed me, Leora said quietly. Not just because you saved me, but because you showed me what it means to fight for what is right. Ethan smiled, looking at the stars. And you've shown me that courage isn't limited to humans. Anyone with heart, determination, and a belief in freedom can inspire change. You're a leader now, Leora, a true example of strength. Leora felt a warmth she had never known. For the first time, she understood what it meant to be free, not just physically, but in spirit. She had choices, a voice, and the power to protect others. Ethan stood beside her, looking at the galaxy. The journey doesn't end here. There will always be challenges, threats, and obstacles, but as long as we face them with courage, intelligence, and compassion, we'll make a difference. Leora nodded, her determination unwavering. Then let's continue, together. And so, under the endless stars, a human and a Veloran girl looked to the future. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders, dangers, and possibilities. But they knew one thing: courage, intelligence, and the belief in freedom could shine brighter than any darkness. The story of their journey, of trust, bravery, and the fight for freedom, was only beginning to inspire others. Across countless worlds, beings began to rise, defending their right to choose, to live, and to dream. And as the stars sparkled overhead, Ethan and Leora set forth once more, ready to face the challenges ahead, secure in the knowledge that together, they could light the way for a freer galaxy.